Once in a while, like on the Sabbath, yeah.
At least one question already on deck. He said, ask mommy.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come.
thy will be done.
Thy will be done
In
in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread.
our daily bread,
Forgive us our debts
and forgive us our debts.
as we forgive our debtors.
We forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the
For
kingdom,
thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
power,
and the glory,
and the glory
forever.
forever.
In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. All right, so before I do have a question that already came up, but we got any questions in house before we get rocking and rolling? All right, so here's the question that was presented to me. Is, are you an adult at age 20? And my initial answer is the Bible doesn't label adults. So that is you trying to fit Bible understanding into Western philosophy. And we can't do that. And in this culture, you're an adult at the age of 18, or, pretty much, you can go off you could be on your own. Your parents can't tell you what to do in this culture. But biblically, that's not what has happened. And so, first of all, before we get off into the law, let's look and see what the first thing the Lord told man anyway. So let's go to Genesis chapter 2. And read at verse 24. So this is where it all starts. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
Right, so they didn't have an age. With Isaac, it was 40. You know what I mean? So it's not an age on when you leave the house. Now, going back to that whole type of subject, let's jump over to Genesis chapter 30 something. I don't know where yet. Genesis 34. Genesis 34. We definitely gonna get into the law and try to get an understanding of it. But here's the thing about all of that is, you know, it's a story in the Bible when them young kids was like, go up thou bald head, go up thou bald head. And Elisha cursed them and sent the bears on them and killed them, and they was children. So, you know, it gets trivial when we start talking about age of accountability. That's what we're really looking at. When are you accountable for your actions? You're accountable for your actions when you know better. Now, Genesis chapter 34 though. And let's pick this up at verse 9. So we're just gonna jump right into it. So what this particular story is about, it's about Jacob's sons. That's what we're focusing on. And how they operated and how the whole thing looked to others. So pick it up at like verse 6. When you get there, go ahead.
And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out unto Jacob to commune with him. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it. And the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Israel and lying with Jacob's daughter. Which thing ought not to be done.
Right.
And Hamor communed with them, saying, the soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter. I pray you, give her him to wife, and make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. And ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade ye therein, and get you possessions therein. And Shechem said unto her, Father, and unto her brethren, let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gift, and I will give according as ye shall say unto me. But give me the damsel to wife.
Go ahead.
And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully, and said, because ye have defiled Dinah,
that's fine.
Dinah their sister, and they said unto them, we cannot do this thing, to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us.
So what I'm trying to show you here is, like in the Bible, it's all like the family. You know what I'm saying? Like these men stayed with their daddy and they represented that family up until they went off to be gone. Keep reading though.
Verse 15. But in this will we consent unto you, if ye will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised. Then will we give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters unto us.
So notice who talking though. These are the sons talking, and they all talking in a unit. All right. Let's jump down to verse 25.
And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore.
But they went and circumcised themselves, so now they sore. The men of Shechem. Go ahead.
When they were sore, that two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males. And they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house, and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep, and their oxen, and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives took they captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, ye have troubled me to make me to stink among.
So notice though, at the end of it, he was like, man, y'all done made these grown men. He was like, y'all done made me to stink. So again, when you're just looking at it, age ain't got nothing to do with nothing yet so far. Let's go to Samuel. Let's go to Samuel, 1 Samuel. And when I say age don't have nothing to do with it, we gonna get into the law and see what it says. And that's what you learn. It say what it say. Let's go to 1 Samuel first though. And we're gonna go to chapter 16. Yeah. 1 Samuel chapter 16 and start picking it up at verse 1. Because one of the questions that came to me, so it's like, if somebody was 24, 25 years old, and could you, is this, like Nashan, for example, and Nashan's 25 years old, and y'all want him to go to war, do you ask him? And like, is he an adult, can he go? Or do you still go to his father? And so here's how they would have done it back then. So 1 Samuel chapter 16, pick it up at verse 1. And when you get there, go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And the Lord said, take an heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt anoint unto me him whom I name unto thee. And Samuel did that which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem, and the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, comest thou peacefully? And he said, peacefully I am come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves, and come with me to the sacrifice that he sanctified Jesse and his sons, and called them to the sacrifice.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when they were come, that he looked on Eliab, and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance.
So understand what's going on. Samuel is going to Jesse's house. And Jesse is in charge of all his sons, even though his sons is grown. Again, the word adult isn't in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? But they just honor, in the Bible, they operated in a way of order. And the order is, if I want something from your house, which is your sons, then I'm going to go to the man of the house, which was Jesse. Now, we see in situations in the Bible like how Abraham, Isaac and Rebecca was like, yo, get up out of here to Jacob. It's time for you to go. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, he would have been under his daddy, even at 35. Isaac at 40 years old. Now, is he an adult? That word's just not in the Bible, so it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like when I say it doesn't matter, it's just about order. This is the order. You would have went to his. If you needed my son for something, it's just like the other day. Dude comes, he flagged me down. He needs some help carrying the treadmill in. And I'm like, nah, I can't do it. My son in here though, I'll see if I get him to come do it. Now Sean comes over there, bang, helps him with the treadmill, they knock it out. He comes back to me to thank me. Because even though my son did the work, you had to go through a set of channels and I was the head. I could have been like, nah, we ain't doing that. And then he wouldn't have been doing that. That's order. And if he would have did it anyway, in my house, don't matter if he was 15, 16, or 31, he would have been out of order. And that's what's more important than anything than when are you an adult. But again, we're going to get into the law and clear up what the law do say about ages. But we'll get there. So go ahead. Keep reading. What verse?
Verse 7.
Uh-huh.
But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, neither hath the Lord chosen this. Then Jesse made Shemaiah to pass by. And he said, neither hath the Lord chosen this. Again.
Verse 11.
Oh, sorry.
No, you good.
All right. And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children?
See, like, look, you go into the house for grown men, but you talking to Jesse. Go ahead.
And said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal all of a beautiful countenance, and godly and goodly to look to. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he.
All right, that's good. So now let's go into this law, and let's look and see at this 20, because that ain't the only age that's accounted for in the law either. 20, 25, 30. We're going to see them. We're going to look at a couple of them here. From 20 years old. Let's go to Numbers chapter 1. Numbers chapter 1. And again, you know, when you ask at what age is a man child an adult, like, it doesn't really matter at what age. You know what I mean? Like, whether you young or whether you old, or when did they. Now, we're going to see how when we were in the land, who got numbered, who got, you know, who was numbered, it was everybody 20 years and upward. But none of that matters, though. I mean, like, that might be a count on how many men we say we got here, but at the end of the day, and with all due respect, because here's where the nature of the question comes from. So when my son turns 21 years old, he a grown man, he can do what he want to do. And the answer, honestly, biblically, he could be grown no matter what age, but either he gonna be in order or not. And the order is you leave your mother and your father and you go cleave to this woman and become one. So then if you still in your mama and your daddy house, then you still live by their rules. They still that's still the order. If you want something from me or you want something from my son, you will be coming to the father. That's how it would be. Now, you know, this is America. We don't, you know, we ain't on all that. But again, when you start talking about what the Bible say, this is how the Bible operates. So let's go to Numbers chapter 1, and let's pick it up at verse 1.
And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of the congregation, on the first day of the 2nd month, in the 2nd year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, take heed the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel, after their families, by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names, every male by their poles. For 20 years...
So notice what it said, after their families, by the house of their fathers. Because that's what was most important. Like, it wasn't about, are you an adult? Like, that's not a question we asking. Don't nobody care about that. You know what I'm saying? What they asking you, who's your father? You the son of who? That's what they asking. Go ahead.
From 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war.
So now we learn that at 20 years old, not 18, but at 20 years old and upward is how old we was letting our sons go out to war. Now we was in the book of Samuel, and we saw that you still was coming to the daddy to grab them sons. It wasn't like you would just be like, catch David out in the field like, hey, come here, let me grab you for a minute. Like, nah. It's like, let me go to Jesse and see if I can have one of his sons to take him off to war. But we got more though. Let's see, let's go look at let's jump down to verse 17.
And Moses and Aaron took these men, which are expressed by their names, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the 2nd month. And they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward by their poles. As the Lord commanded Moses, so he numbered them in the wilderness of Sinai. And the children of Reuben, Israel's eldest son, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names by their poles.
Like he's showing you right here, like it was all about family though. You know what I'm saying? The order was about family. All right, now we're gonna jump over verse 44. Go ahead. We can just read that, but we really gonna go somewhere else with it. Go ahead.
These are those that were numbered, which Moses and Aaron numbered, and the prince of Israel, being 12 men, each one was for the house of his fathers. So were all those that were numbered of the children of Israel by the house of their fathers, from 20 years old and upward, and all that were able to go forth to war in Israel.
Right. So that just really getting to the point that, like, so if we going to war, Israel going to war, my son's too young. You know what I'm saying? That's what that means. My son's too young. Because really, I'm too old. My son's too young. So then nobody in my house could be represented. But we talking about a nation. I really want to be represented at war. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, to fight for our nation. So it's like, dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to wait. You know what I'm saying? We would be like that. We got to wait on our son to get ready so he can go out to war with the rest of the men. It's not like it is today. Today, we ain't trying to fight for this country. Then we would have been trying to fight for our country. Let's move on. Let's go to Numbers chapter 8. Numbers chapter 8. And we're going to pick this up at verse 23. All I'm trying to show y'all is what's being said here. And people are asking, are you at 20 years old an adult? And we don't even want to talk about the women. It don't even matter if the woman is an adult at all. The woman's vow belonged to her daddy until she married off to her husband. That's just a period point blank. I don't care if she's 50. If her daddy's still alive, then he still hold her vows, either him or her husband. Numbers chapter 8. And that's just all book, man. Numbers chapter 8. And let's pick this up at verse 20.
20? Mm-hmm. And Moses and Aaron and all the congregation of the children of Israel did to the Levites according unto all that the Lord commanded Moses concerning the Levites. So did the children of Israel unto them. And the Levites were purified, and they were washed of their clothes. Mm-hmm. And Aaron offered them as an offering before the Lord. And Aaron made an atonement for them to cleanse them. And after that went the Levites in to do their service in the tabernacle of the congregation before Aaron and before his sons, as the Lord had commanded Moses concerning the Levites. So did they unto them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This is it that belongeth unto the Levites. From 25 years old and upward, they shall go in to wait upon the service of the tabernacle of the congregation.
So now we got another number. At 25 years old, now you eligible to come in and wait of the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. I don't know what that means. I think wait is as in like a waiter or like serve, like provide a type of service in the tabernacle. But the bottom line is you got to be 25 to do that. So it's ages and numbers in here to have you qualified to do certain stuff. Let's go to what was that? Numbers 8. Let's go to chapter 26 now. Numbers chapter 26. So what we're seeing though is, and we're gonna see one time where it's like 20 is, you know, when somebody's accountable for something. It's gonna say something like that. But again, we're not going to see that there is a 20-year-old, now you're an adult. It's gonna tell you what you're accountable for. And that's all it is. Just what it's saying. Doesn't take things out of order. Numbers 26, pick it up at verse 1.
And it came to pass after the plague that the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Elijah. Say it again. Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saying, Take the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel, from 20 years old and upward, throughout their father's house, all that are able to go to war in Israel.
Mm-hmm. Keep reading.
And Moses and Eleazar the priest spake with them in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho, saying, Take the sum of the people from 20 years old and upward, as the Lord commanded Moses and the children of Israel, which went forth out of the land of Egypt. Reuben, the eldest son of Israel, the children of Reuben, Hannah, and of whom cometh the family of the Hanakshites, of Palu, the family of the Paluites, of Hezron, the family of Hezronites, of Carmi, the family of Carmites. These are the families of the Reubenites, And they that were numbered of them were 40 and 3,730.
All right, that's good. Now let's go to Leviticus. Yeah. Now let's go to Exodus first, then we go to Leviticus. Let's go to Exodus. Let's try 30. Exodus 30, and then we'll go to Leviticus. And these are going to be pretty much all the scriptures that give you, and just none of them just make you, like when you start talking to an adult, that's an American, that's a westernized term. I don't even know, like, what does that mean? That as an adult, what, you can go buy beer? You know what I'm saying? Well, the Bible don't talk about how old you got to be to buy beer. Doesn't mean that once you become an adult, you're an adult so you can establish credit. Well, the Bible ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what, when people, and we're going to look at some stuff right here that's going to, you know, maybe give the answer of what people are talking about. But like, for example, somebody might say, well, how old do I need to be, or how old does my son need to be to get baptized? The age that he's ready to make a covenant with God. A 16-year-old can make a covenant with God. A 12-year-old can make a covenant with God. And so could a 21, 30-year-old. You understand? Like I'm saying, that's what a baptism is, making a covenant with God. When are you responsible? I know, I remember being in the Word, and we was around youngsters who didn't have mamas and daddies that was involved in their life. So they 17, 16 years old, and they dealing in the Word, they getting baptized because they're responsible for themselves. That's the society we live in. Just like Jesus, he's 12 years old. He ain't sitting up under his mom and dad. He down there at the church. You know what I'm saying? Like dealing with them. So he got sense enough to deal with them at 12 years old. So I can't tell another 12, 13, 14-year-old that they ain't got sense enough to make a covenant with God. I can't tell them that. So anyway, Exodus chapter 30. And let's start it off at verse 12. Yeah.
When thou takest the sum of the children of Israel after their number, then shall they give every man a ransom for his soul unto the Lord. When thou numberest them, that there be no plague among them, when thou numberest them. This they shall give, every one that passeth among them that are numbered, half a shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary. A shekel is 20 gerahs, and half shekel shall be the offering of the Lord. Everyone that passeth among them that are numbered from 20 years old and above shall give an offering unto the Lord. The rich shall not give more than, and the poor shall not give less than half a shekel, when they give an offering unto the Lord, to make an atonement for your souls.
Keep going.
And thou shalt take the atonement money of the children of Israel, and shalt appoint it to the appointed for the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, that it may be a memorial unto the children of Israel before the Lord, to make an atonement for your souls.
That's good. Let's go look at another one here. Let's go to chapter 38. Exodus 38, and we're going to start this off at about verse 20. Exodus chapter 38, and we'll start at verse 21.
This is the sum of the tabernacle, even of the tabernacle of testimony. And it was counted.
And so you got to look at what we be talking about a lot of times too. Like we talking about the tabernacle and what's going on. And I'm not the type of person that's trying to negate, okay, well, at 20 years old is when you become a man or whatever. I don't know. I'm saying I can only show you what it say about what it tell you. And when you start saying that he's grown at 21 or 20 years old, what is your point of reference? You know what I'm saying? Like that's because I've met 20-year-olds who ain't grown. So your point of reference is what? Because the Bible is not saying somebody is an adult. Now it is saying at 20 years old he's old enough to go to war. But we saw with Jesse and them that you still going to the daddy though. It's not like you just go grab David out the field and be like, come fight for me. That's not how it operates. It's an order to all of this in the scriptures. That's what I want to show. All right? Now, getting back to it, Exodus, pick it up at verse 21, 38 and 21.
This is the sum of the tabernacle, even of the tabernacle of testimony. And it was counted according to the commandment of Moses, for the service of the Levites.
See, like, look what we dealing with. For the service of the Levites. We always dealing with something. It's always some kind of reason that is about to rock out these numbers. It don't just be random like that. So we can't just randomly be like, oh yeah, so that make you grown when you 20. Now again, the level of responsibility, like some we can see younger. We saw them kids getting killed. We can see older. We see Isaac don't live until he's 40. You know what I'm saying? Like, so all I'm getting at is when you can say, well, the Lord did this when them people was 20 years old. Fine. But that might not have nothing to do with me and my son. And that's what we're getting at. Even though the conversation was never about me and my son. But go ahead, keep reading. What verse?
I'm going to start over.
All right.
This is the sum of the tabernacle, even of the tabernacle of testimony. And it was counted according to the commandment of Moses for the service of the Levites by the hand of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest, and Bezaliah, the son of Uriah, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made all that the Lord commanded Moses. And with him was Eliab, the son of Eshamiah.
I don't know, but you about to beat all that up. So let's just jump down to 25.
And the silver of them that were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents, and 1,750 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. And Becca, for every man that is half a shekel, after the shekel of the sanctuary, for everyone that went to be numbered from 20 years old and upward, for 600,000 and 3,550 men.
Right. So, and they're going to pay out. So they're going to pay, so we can see that at age 20 is when the Lord, he counting you. But again, and when I say he's counting you as he counts the rest of the men. So we can say, well, you a man at 20, but then I'm like, well, at 19, what is you, a boy? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's not even that relevant because we don't deal like this. Meaning we have no reason on, and all this stuff is Levitical. Like we don't have no reason to pinpoint a age to do anything. Like we might say, well, how does somebody need to be to read up here? Well, we got plenty of brothers to read. I don't know how old these brothers is. I don't know if they over 50, whatever. But I know one thing, if you're a good reader, you can read. Now, I would say that I'm going to grab grown men to read before I grab younger men. Like, for example, Nashan, because we need to be putting in that work. And he got more time to put it in. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's not because, which has something to do with him being young. But it's not because, for example, if we have nobody to read, you read. She's about to fall out. You know what I'm saying? Like if I show up a class and I'm the only brother here, then I'll probably throw one of these sisters up here to read. You know what I'm saying? Like to be honest with you, that's not out of the scripture. Let's just say that. And that's all I'm getting at is when you start saying somebody got to be a certain age for what? You know what I'm saying? Like, and we not discrediting what all this stuff is in here, but I'm just saying a certain age for what? Let's go to Leviticus chapter 27. Leviticus 27. And that's all I'm getting at. And don't say, well, you become an adult at such and such age. Adult ain't in the Bible. That's something you making up. You know, that's something that you feel a certain way. Then you might be like, you a man. I'm like, man, I don't know about all that. I ain't reading that either. Now we'll read what this say, Leviticus chapter 27. Leviticus 27, let's pick it up in verse 1, 2, and 3. When you get there, go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When a man shall make a singular vow, the person shall be for the Lord by thy testimony. And thy estimation shall be of the male from 20 years old, even unto 60 years old. Even thy estimation shall be 50 shekels of silver, after the shekel of the sanctuary. And if it be a female, then thy estimation shall be 30 shekels.
Go ahead.
And if it be from 5 years old, even unto 20 years old, then thy estimation shall be of the male 20 shekels.
Look at that. So now we seeing When we start paying for everybody, it was like with little kids from 5 years old to 20 years old. So like we can get an idea of that's what make you a boy, I guess. But it's just not saying that for you to make that decree as if this is a law or something. But keep reading.
And for the female, 10 shekels. And if it be from a month old, even unto 5 years old, then thy estimation shall be of the male 5 shekels of silver. And for the female, thy estimation shall be 3 shekels of silver. And if it be from 60 years old and above, if it be a male, then thy estimation shall be 15 shekels. And for the female, 10 shekels.
So all I want us to not do is don't add to the book. Oh, let it go. Yeah, so all I want us to do is let's not add to the book. You know what I mean? And what I mean by let's not add to the book, adult ain't in the Bible. Now, I'm not telling you that there's not a level of responsibility for a 20-year-old. I mean, that's pretty obvious just in life. That as you see, there's a difference between a 16-year-old and a 20-year-old. There's a difference between a 20-year-old and a 25-year-old, for the most part. But again, the Bible is not making a decree that you are an adult when you 20 years old, male or female. And that's all I was trying to make sure we answer. So hopefully that cleared that up a little bit. It tells you the ages in there. Children is a peace. With people who are in their early 20s see senior citizens age 60, or will Jesus return before then? I don't know, man. I don't think they will. Somebody 20 years old, will they become a senior citizen? That's like another 40 years. I don't think we got it like that. If I had to say, yeah. I mean, I done did the count a few times. Like I said, we probably within about a good 14, 20 years. That's where we at. Probably somewhere within the 14, 20 years. But, you know, maybe I could be wrong, so. But I don't really have nothing. There's nothing biblical that's going, you know, I'm looking at the YouTube questions. There's nothing in the Bible that we can support that one way or the other. Then the next question is Isaiah 35, 5-6, in the wilderness during the Great Tribulation, would there be physical healing? For example, if someone who is deaf goes there, will they receive their hearing? Oh, absolutely. Let's go to Isaiah 35. Absolutely. Wait a minute, hold on, whoa. In the wilderness during the Great Tribulation. Oh, excuse me. I apologize. Not during the Great Tribulation. Can I read you that? Now, after, when the Lord brings us back to the wilderness, yeah, I can see that. But this Isaiah 35 is not the Great Tribulation. So we're going to read this. The Isaiah 35 is not the Great Tribulation. So when you look at your question and it says, in the wilderness during the Great Tribulation, would there be physical healing? For example, if someone is deaf goes there, would they receive their hearing? Not the Great Tribulation. Let's read this. Isaiah 35, pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead.
The wilderness in the solitary.
Hold on, let's find out what this wilderness is. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 20 real quick, and then we'll come back. So hold your spot here. We're going to go to Ezekiel chapter 20. Peace to you, Brother Ronald. Ezekiel chapter 20. And we're going to see when this wilderness is. So we're going to start this off at verse 33. So this is the wilderness that we're reading about in Isaiah 35. 2 times do we go to the wilderness. We go to the wilderness as a place of safety during the Great Tribulation. Then the Lord will return after the Great Tribulation. And when the Lord returns, before he starts putting knucklehead Negroes in Jerusalem, he going to bring them down to the same wilderness where he going to purge the rebels and teach everybody his ways. That's when we can say people going to get healed. And that's what Isaiah 35 is about. So go ahead and do Ezekiel chapter 20 first. Start at 33, run it to about 36, and then we'll go back to Isaiah 35. You get there, go ahead.
As I live, said the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered. with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith the Lord God. Keep going.
Keep going.
And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, and I will purge out from among you the rebels.
So this is all going to happen in the wilderness once the Lord returns, though. Go ahead.
And them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel. And ye shall know that I am the Lord.
All right, that's good. So now we can go back to that Isaiah 35. So this is the wilderness that we're talking about here when the Lord is ready to start taking the children of Israel. See, when the Lord come back and he bring us to the land of Israel, he just, like, when the Lord come back, he going to gather everybody. Everybody get to go home. Now, it's not going to be this many people on the planet. So, when I say it's not going to be this many people on the planet, like, it ain't like we about to just, first of all, they say you can put everybody in the whole planet in the state of Texas anyway. So, it ain't like we was going to overpopulate Israel. But it's not, then the Lord going to kill like a third of man twice. So, just for playing with numbers, if it's 9 billion people on the planet, then he gonna kill a third. That's 6 billion. Then they say he gonna kill a third of that. So that's like 4 billion. So he got 4 billion people left. So he done already knocked down the population by half. All right. Now he said, I'm not gonna bring nobody back into Jerusalem when I come back until they get to this wilderness, so they can learn how to act. Isaiah 35, pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead.
The wilderness in the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it. The excellency of Carmel and Sharon, they shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellency of our God.
Go ahead.
Strengthen ye the weak hands and confirm the feeble knees.
Go ahead.
Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance. Even God with a recompense, he will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped.
Right, so that's what it's telling you right here. The eyes of the blind going to be open, not just physically, but mentally. But this is in the wilderness after the Lord comes back, not during the Great Tribulation period. Go ahead.
Then shall the lame man leap as an hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out and streams in the desert.
Right, this is not during the time period when we there as a place of safety. Go ahead.
And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. And the habitation of dragons, where each lay, shall be grass with reeds and rushes. And an highway shall be there, and a way it shall be called the way of holiness.
Verse 10.
And the ransom of the Lord shall return, and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away.
Right, so this is all when we go back to the wilderness stuff, after the Lord comes back, not prior. So hopefully that helps clear that up for you, child of Israel. That's what's the name? Peace to you too, sis. We got any questions or comments in-house? All right, y'all. So we don't got no questions in-house. So today we just dealt with two simple ones. We dealt with that wilderness, you know what I mean? And we just dealt with, are you an adult? That's really the question. Are you an adult at age 20? And the Bible doesn't give you an age for you to become an adult. So with that being said, brothers and sisters, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and close it out. Y'all know we're going to take our religious pilgrimage from here.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth
and earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts,
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
deliver us from evil.
For thine is the
For
kingdom,
thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
power,
and the glory,
glory,
forever.
forever.
In Jesus' mighty name, we
In
pray.
Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
I'm guessing there's no dub.